Welcome to another episode of Galaxydoc Market's Instructive and Market Analysis. The title is Bearish Stock Market Sell-Off Setup, and today is, as I make this video, Wednesday, May 29th, 2024. We are halfway through the Memorial Day shortened holiday week, and there are significant things that are forming in the stock market which we want to go over to help everybody in their trading setup. Here's the disclaimer. Please pause it, read it. If you agree, please move forward. And here's our shameless plug on x.com, Galaxydoc Market. Follow us, and there's a lot of great things that we post there on a daily basis. Okay, so to get started, we have 6 proprietary analysis techniques that tells us the market, believe it or not, is setting up for market sell-off formation. And I know a lot of people are saying, yeah, but that can't be true because, NVIDIA is going to the moon, and Fed is saying that the inflation is under control. And it seems to me like, the market is bullish as heck, and it's just moving higher. All the indexes are at all-time highs, and NVIDIA is going parabolic. So what gives? Well, at Galaxydoc Market, we have the 6 proprietary market directional setups that we look at, that we do as a technical analysis, and we look at the McClellan Summation Index, VIX, gold and silver, outside stock split formation, SPX versus equal weighted SPX divergence formation, and SPY daily and weekly technical setup. And so we're going to go through this one by one. And first and foremost, we're going to be talking about the bearish signal that has now popped up on McClellan Summation Index. And why is McClellan Summation Index so important to us? It is the only directional indicator that we use that is tried and true. And yes, we do our own set of technical analysis. We find the tops and bottoms, and all these lines mean something, but we're not talking about that today. What we are talking about today is the formation of this very important turn in the markets. And this turn is very important to note, and that is this red formation, and we just kind of curled over. We're forming a support right at this 50 SMA. This is the daily chart, and this is what we follow. Now, every time the market has turned, okay, it stays turned. And this is a very directional reading that we have. And it's very important to note that these formations are not error prone. Okay, this is warning us that the market is stalling and is ready to change direction. So MSI has a bearish signal that has formed. And then we look at the MACD. The histogram is divergent. We talked about this before, but there is a MACD signal that is forming what we call the bearish hook or death hook that is forming. And so that is telling us, the market is telling us, not us, but the market is telling us. And every time we ignore this because we have a narrative or our scenario that we have in our mind, or the biases that we have, and we end up paying for it. But this market, as hard as it is to believe, and for me, I also believe this window for sell-off is coming to an end, and yet we get this McClellan Summation Index bearish formation, which is warning us that the directional change is coming. Now, what some of you might say, well, could it just come here and then just tilt right up higher? Oh, well, possibly can. It's very rare. I mean, you see some of these forming, but this is a pretty significant bearish formation. So what we're looking for is a MACD crossover, like in every single one of these instances. Then we got a directional change. So that's what we're waiting for. We're waiting on the MACD. While it's divergent, does not have a full signal yet, maybe in a couple of days. So it doesn't mean that the market's going to sell off right away, and that maybe we'll get a rescue. And that means that the markets will go higher. And so that is something that we're looking at. Don't go out there just because you saw this video that basically you go out there and short with reckless abandon. What you do is you remain patient and you continue to monitor this McClellan Summation Index. Okay. Now the second formation is the VIX. The volatility index, or VIX, is inversely correlated to S&P 500, and this is what we have currently as we're speaking right now. Now, it found some rejection off the blue line, which is the 50 SMA. However, we are sure that based on these signals right now, MACD is crossing over, giving us a bullish formation or a signal that we're going to go much higher. So let's look further down. We have a bullish formation on the CCI and it's moving higher. We have a bullish formation on the stochastics. Okay, they're all lining up. And then, of course, what could be not complete without our PPO ADX? And PPO ADX is forming our bullish cup formation. And this is telling us that a broader movement is coming. Is it going to be tomorrow? I don't know. Maybe it'll be tomorrow. I'm just telling you a move is coming, that we got to be careful in being too overly bullish. There is a sell-off, and a sharp sell-off at that is coming. We are also, you know how I like to use my ATR. ATR is at the bottom end of the range. We use this as not only as a momentum, but as a directional change. Once we cross over this line, we are going to assume that the directional move is happening. Okay, so VIX is telling us that, and McClellan Summation Index is the signal has turned. We just need a little bit further signal from MACD crossover. Number 3 is on the list is gold and silver. Okay, gold is bullish, right? It's now forming the handle formation in a cup and a handle, and it is getting ready to break out. Its brethren, silver, is basically already gone parabolic. And so that's what we want to look at. The silver is in a phase 3 of 4 breakout. And so the phase 4 is what we call the alpha breakout. And we're setting up for that. So it needs to start moving higher. I think that it's going to start forming this parabolic move. Now, gold and silver moves in market dislocations and periods of high inflationary pressure or geopolitical issues. Maybe all of those are coming. A lot of people are talking about the other potential lockdowns and things like that may be coming. And you know, there's just, this world is a mess. And also economy, if you haven't noticed, isn't doing too well. Okay, so that's number 2 and 3 on the list. Okay. And then number 4 on the list, obviously, is the outside stock split. And so we went through this. You saw this previous video. If you want further explanation, please watch that video. But after all these incredible stock splits have occurred, outsides, anything above 5 for 1, we went into a corrective phase. And now, just a few months ago, we have CMG report 50 to 1. NVIDIA just reported 10 to 1 stock split. And they're all going to split in the month of June. Okay, so, and if you look at a lot of these stock split announcements, they do go up higher. And that's what NVIDIA is doing. It's going parabolic in terms of the way NVIDIA is moving, but it will stall out. And that's something that you want to look at and see if that's true in light of the fact that I just showed you the VIX, McClellan Summation Index, gold and silver are telling you that there's potentially, or not even potentially, it's a matter of time before the market starts to turn over sooner than later. Number 5 on the list is looking and comparing the SPX, which is the cash index of the S&P 500, and it's the continuous contract. Okay, on the top is the equal weighted index. Now, the equal weighted index, you can see the steepening, and it looks very much different than the standard SPX. It barely started to move, but there is a divergence forming. But this has already sold off, and you see that big red candle. We haven't actually gotten to that same level yet. And what that means is that very few stocks are basically doing the heavy lifting, namely NVIDIA, probably Apple, Amazon, Netflix, and Tesla are probably doing most of the lifting. And rest of the stocks, if you haven't noticed about my consumer demand destruction trades, especially with Williams-Sonoma, today it's AAP, Advanced Auto Parts, and so on and so forth, not all stocks are doing well. But the index, because of the market weighting, the indexes will show you that everything is fine, but internally it's not. And when you compare it to this equal weighted versus the normal SPX, you can see the disconnect. In fact, the equal weighted one is already formed a double top and it is coming down. Okay, so keep keep note of that. This market is telling you that we're going to be coming down shortly. Okay. Let's quickly take a look at the daily on the SPY. And we had a breakdown candle, right? And then it's kind of forming this bearish, maybe flag formation. Now, it will get bullish if we basically break out from the top end of that candle and move higher. Then, yeah, I mean, you can't argue it. Markets will do what it will do. But I am telling you that there are signs and symptoms based on our directional evaluation and analysis that the market is warning us, though it may not seem clear, that there is a sharp sell-off coming. Okay. The question is that on this setup, we have the RSI that is divergent. Okay. And we have this breakdown candle. The question is, are we going to break down from here or break up from there or break down? Okay. We've got a MACD that is basically forming a histogram that is divergent, and we're waiting for that signal, just like we are on McClellan Summation Index, that cross. Okay, we got the CCI that is divergent. We got the stochastic that has turned over. And on top of all that, my favorite of all time, PPO-ADX, if you haven't seen that video, please go watch it, is forming a bearish formation. Okay, this tells you that a bigger bearish move is coming. Not even maybe. And then on top of all that, my ATR and accumulation distribution and ATR is showing you that it's going to be forming a bearish price movement shortly. Okay. Now let's look at the weekly. Weekly is telling you also the same thing. Let's look. Weekly is pretty much stalling out right at these levels. Okay. RSI is negatively divergent. We have the MACD basically has already crossed over, and it's just kind of forming right here. It's just moving sideways. That's what it's doing. It's churning up here. And then we have a MACD histogram that probably owing to NVIDIA's earnings, that it is getting ready to, forming a kind of a bullish divergence. That's the only divergence that is there. However, the signal on the MACD is flat. So it's probably going to end up being nothing and continuing on in its negatively divergent fashion. Okay, now we have that CCI, Commodity Channel Index, basically, again, churning sideways, but now we're beginning to come down a little bit down here. We have negative divergence on the stochastic, and it's ready to cross over. All right, and then, of course, the question that remains on the weekly, okay, there's no doubt that we're going to get a summer rally. But the question is, are we still in this bearish PPO ADX crush indicator? We may be. Accumulation distribution. Now, this is misleading, okay? There is a lot of accumulation and distribution in few stocks. When you equally weight this, the SPX or S&P 500 is not doing as well as you think it is. In fact, it has formed a double top, and it is already selling off in those cases. And so we already looked at that, okay? And on top of all that, we are at near the all-time high. So if this ATR starts to move higher, that's going to cause a little bit of a sell-off, right? So that's something that we need to be looking at very, very carefully. So we went over the technical analysis. We need to now look at what do we make of all this? Does that mean the market's going to crash or sell off? No, hardly. I don't think there's going to be a crash, but I think there's going to be a sharp corrective wave for the next 5 to 7 days. And when it starts, I think it's going to start shortly. So in conclusion, we're now stalling near the all-time highs, right? As SPY and QQQ are breaking out to all-time highs with waning velocity, which is evident, okay? SPX and equal-weighted SPX, there is a divergence. Equal-weighted SPX is telling you it's selling off, okay? And so whatever is being masked by, the NVIDIAs and the AI chips, everything else, if you look at the earnings of other, consumer stocks and other stocks, they are under pressure, okay? Gold and silver is bullish and breaking out, which is negative for the markets, right? Gold and silver moves in periods of economic uncertainty, geopolitical tension, high inflation. It's just, when these things go up, it's not a good sign for the economy, okay, especially for the fiat-based economy. Silver is especially getting ready to parabolically have a blow-off top type of movement. Okay, it's ready to break out even higher. It's on that phase 3 of my parabolic move, and it's waiting for the alpha phase 4 move, which is basically the end stage move. Okay, we're just at phase 3. So outside stock splits and NVIDIA moving below off top style is showing you that we may, this rally may be coming to an end shortly. We need to wait for full confirmation of the McClellan Summation Index, especially on the MACD. MSI has already given the signal. Now to not get faked out, we need that MACD to cross over. And the divergence is there. We just need the signal. It may be coming in a couple days, especially if he starts selling off. Also, VIX has bottomed. Okay, we saw that. I showed you that VIX has bottomed. When it hit 11.25 or that area, it basically is telling you that there is higher volatility coming. So waiting for after the holiday shortened week to end for this week, because there is lower volume. It's going to be a little choppy like we talked about. There's going to be further confirmation coming, and I think there is going to be a sell-off coming unless there's some intervention and things like that. And what we do is we wait for the McClellan Summation Index MACD signal confirmation. Okay, don't jump in just because you saw this video and start shorting the bejesus out of everything. That's not how this works. But I'm warning everybody that be on the lookout. There may be a sharp sell-off that's coming to take out some of those unfinished business down below. Okay, so please follow us at x.com, Galaxy Market. Follow us, please like us, share us, and above all, comment, good and bad, and subscribe to this channel. And if you want to do business with me, please email me at coachbrandon@protonmail.com and schedule consultation. Okay, otherwise, let's go chase some alpha.